July 31st trade deadline coming up. Is it still Marcus Stroman? Is he still the biggest piece of trade bait for the Jays?
I think so, probably. But I would tell you what, the way that Galvis has played recently puts him in the conversation. Not too many teams need a shortstop, but I think that the power that we saw this week with the 2-homer game was impressive. And the other side of the equation is that, by all accounts, Bo Bichette looks ready. And so I think we'll see Bo in the next month or 6 weeks. Based on some of Ross Atkins' comments recently, it doesn't sound like it's imminent, but it also sounds like it certainly could be this year. And as a result, I think Freddie moving is a real possibility there. Just with the power that he has shown and the veteran experience that he's got, I think he'd be a really nice component for somebody. Of course, just with his overall, the left-handed presence of the bat, I think is really big for certain teams to have as a bench option, or at least a platoon option at the very least down the stretch. And certainly he can obviously start on a great many teams. So, but yeah, I think Stroman in general, I like the way Marcus has pitched this year. Like the way that he's carried himself, like everything about it. I mean, I think he handled well the questions in New York. I think that was really interesting to follow. The Yankees, I believe, they had to have come away from observing that and saying, you know what, he's a New Yorker. I think he'd do a great job handling the situation here and all the pressure. So I think Marcus, you name the team that needs pitching for multiple years, and the Yankees are one of them. I think there's going to be a lot of interest in the next month in Marcus Stroman.
Do you think there's any efforts whatsoever to ink him to a contract extension right now?
It's a great question, Greg. I don't sense that's top of mind right now for the Jays. I think they're comfortable trading him, but it's, to me, the way that Marcus talked recently about that desire and the lack of apparent progress there leads me to believe that it's not going to happen, that the Jays have just decided that they are best served potentially just moving him now and taking back the prospects they'll get, as opposed to working on that extension. But I wouldn't totally rule it out. It just seems to me that at the moment they've been planning internally for this possibility, and they don't quite see the need to deviate from that plan quite yet. So a lot can change in the month of July, but I think in general, there's still a pretty good chance that he's going to get traded.
Erick Sogard looks like really found money for the Blue Jays, but we had Scott MacArthur on Canada Day before the matinee game against the Royals, and he said that's an interesting trade piece for a contender. The numbers look a little fluky, especially the power numbers. He's had 20 home runs now in 1,800 Major League at-bats, but he's got 9 of them this season, 9 of the 20. Is there a team that's either kicking themselves for not adding Erick Sogard to the back of their bench? Is Erick Sogard a guy that could easily sit on a contender's bench and be a bat coming off it?
I think the latter is very true, and certainly there's probably a lot of teams that wish they would have had a little better insight into the player that he could be.
But it's tough, right? He looked finished in Milwaukee. He looked finished in Milwaukee, so it's tough, right?
He did. He was not a prominent player there by any means. He was not someone that you were looking at as a playoff contributor at all there. But I think now it's different, and I think you look around in teams that have had some infield depth issues. I would say for me, even the Red Sox potentially. I realize Chavis certainly has played very well at second base of late, but to me, when you've got a player that has experience in the playoffs, as Sogard does, and you know that you can add that additional experience and the versatility, as you know, you can move around the diamond and play a lot of different spots for you. You know, the Houston Astros are one more team. Of course, they've got Altuve back now, but they still have some fluidity to their everyday lineup right now with some of the injuries that they've had, and also just the general thought about, okay, how many days off will Correa need when he comes back? This is the time of year, especially with one trade deadline. I think Sogard is going to be the beneficiary, or at least just the interest in him will I think get boosted fact that there's one deadline, because Sogard in that role, you would have said, well, there's going to be a multi-position infielder who gets through waivers in August that I can find. But you can't do that anymore. And I think Sogard, with what he's able to bring, will have a lot of value this month. And I think you can see a lot of different teams taking a very serious look at him. The Phillies seem to be pretty well set in the infield right now, but I would say Houston, with some of their shortages there, I think that would be a really nice possibility for him. And who knows, the Brewers probably feel as though that they wouldn't necessarily bring him back, but they also have some questions there with Travis Shaw now back in the minor leagues.